What's up, WiseTake? It's the WiseTake DFS Podcast. I'm your host, Patio Joe. You can follow me on Twitter at Patio Joe Ref. And I'm joined here by my Guido, my man, Mr. Pauly D. Say hey, what's up, Pauly D?
What's up? How's it going, man?
What's up? How was your night?
Going well. Hopefully I can hang on. I got a nice sweat going. I'm in 6th in the Jumbo Slugger. Went in 6K, so that would be amazing. And Kike Hernandez, the only guy I got left going, so he might be able to knock with like a double. He can knock me into 4th, which would be awesome.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, I had I've only played the day slate, and I did a few lineups. I had a lineup with Martinez and a White Sox stack. And I had Adam Rosales, and the White Sox game didn't start for like 3 hours, and then Adam Rosales, like, they get shut out, and then they score like 9 runs in like the last 2 innings, and he winds up getting like almost 10 times value. So I wound up winning. I won about $135 off of that. I go a little bit lower, small lever, but I did the 49 man tournament on FanDuel, finished second in that, so had a good morning. And I was a little bit too busy in the afternoon to do the proper research, so I just kind of took the afternoon off. Get ready for tonight's slate or tomorrow's slate, however you want to say it, whenever you're listening. What do you think about the slate overall? Like, just like a broad view.
It's a good tournament slate. It's big. There's no surefire picks at pitcher, and no one stack that stands out. There's like a lot of spots to go, so it's a spot that tomorrow I'll probably be playing in smaller dollar multi-lineup type tournaments, because I don't know how you narrow it down to just like one team on a slate like this.
Yeah, I think that's something on 15 game slates. I'm starting to believe more about just playing a little bit lighter than normal. There's just so much variance. There's so many different ways to go. I don't need to play a lot in order to feel to get the sweat or to watch the games or whatever. I don't need that much. I play seasonal anyway, so I'm following that and just watching the games alone. I take it as it is. If I win, $100 off of $5, that's what, 20x. So yeah. I'm fine with that night. You got to keep it in context. I think everybody thinks that, they're going to be a millionaire in a day. And, those are exceptions to the rule. Those are the exceptions. There's the 95% of us or 99% of us that really have to work at this to get better every day. And every little win, I almost feel like it's like treading water. You kind of tread water until you get that big win, and then you're keeping tread water, and you get that big win. And if you have good bankroll management, you won't go broke. You won't be putting money back. You won't be depositing money into your account. You'll be withdrawing, hopefully.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's probably the biggest change that has helped my game, is that I used to, play almost everything I had on the account every night and as big as possible. And lately what I've done is, I pick and choose my spots. Like 2 days ago, I played $39. Tonight I had $1,500, so it's like, I prefer a little bit of a smaller slate, so on these big wide slates, like I said, there's so much variance, and I don't have the bankroll to play, 150 lineups in like a $25 tournament. So, I usually play a little bit smaller on these slates. I play a little bit of cash, actually. And, it's the smaller slates where I like to go big. And, lately I've been on like a winning streak. I've, cashed in a bunch of larger tournaments. And normally, like, the next day after big cash, I'd play like triple my size. And, like, I've stopped doing that. And it's allowed me, to actually withdraw a lot of money lately. And it's been a lot more fun than the roller coaster rides I was having at the beginning. So I totally agree with that. You got to find your niche within DFS and make it work for you.
Yeah, I mean, today, the early slate, there was FanDuel had some tournaments that I entered. They were a single entry. I entered a $10 and I entered a $5 single entry. And there was the $5 only had 117 people in it. And the $10 had 58 people in it, and the top 8 won, and I placed in both of those. And it was like, if you think about it, all you have to do is get a snapshot of 58 entries at one single time when people are entering lineups. That doesn't necessarily, you could get 58 crap lineups. You can get really bad lineups at that moment, and you can win a tournament. I finished in second with 170. When other tournaments I'm seeing 200. I'm seeing people where, for instance, if you would have put that $2 or that $5 into the squeeze, 170 would have gotten you $12. Instead, I put my $10 and $5 into those smaller tournaments, and I wound up making $135. You know what? I'm not going to get rich doing it, but you know what? I'm going to keep making money, and that's what everybody's got to realize, that it's okay to win smaller dollar tournaments. Yeah,
you got to have like a mix of both. Those tournaments, they have much better ROI. You've got a much better chance of placing higher up because you're only competing against 60 people versus 40,000. And, you can actually take first place. And that's where you get the larger ROIs, the 10X, the 20X, like min cashing in the squeeze, you're only getting 2X. And, even if you're in 80th place out of 40,000, you're usually getting like 5X. So, and that score, 80th place in the squeeze, is usually first in one of those, 50, 60 person tournaments. So completely concur.
And it builds your confidence too. And I think that's one thing that, especially with baseball, it's such a roller coaster, because one day you think, man, I got this down. And then the next day you're like, man, I'm terrible. And you kind of got to keep even keel. So anyways, enough talking about some theory. I hope you got something out of that, everybody. Let's get into this slate because it's a big one. Let's start off with Mr. Luis Castillo of the Cincinnati Reds taking on Steven Strasburg of the Washington Nationals. It looks like it's going to be partly cloudy, 84 degrees. Nothing really. It's going to be wind 14 miles blowing out, and the Nationals looks like a big favorite.
Yeah.
What you got?
So I took a look at Luis Castillo. I didn't see anything too exciting. The only good thing I saw was he didn't give up much home runs in the minors, and he had like a slightly below average K per 9. So this looks like a guy pitching to contact, getting a lot of ground balls, which if he doesn't totally fall apart, maybe he doesn't get blown up in this spot. It's hard to tell with the kid making his debut against like a monstrous team like this. The wind blowing out and the humidity could add to some of those balls flying out a little easier. So, as I said, I'm probably going to make multiple teams, and I will definitely have a little bit of a Washington stack or some of the players here. And Strasburg, definitely an option, but on these large slates, I usually look to pay a little bit down on pitchers and get some better bats. So he's not very interesting to me in this spot, but, definitely in cash, and I understand why people would go there. On the other side, not really interested in any Cincy bats here. Strasburg's been pretty dominant, and there's just way better spots on the slate, so you don't have to go there.
Yeah, Strasburg for me is probably the leader, probably in my cash game that I'm going to be looking at. Probably only about 4 guys I'll be looking at in cash anyways. But what I see here is I'm looking at this, a projected lineup that they're going to roll out tomorrow. And I see a lot of value in Brian Goodwin at 2.4 on FanDuel. Feebat second. That's great for cash games. I like Matt Wieters at 2.4 to get a part of this game if you want to get a piece of it. And also, one guy I also wanted to look at, he seems to be playing better, and I wish he would bat higher up in the lineup, is Michael Taylor. He seems like he's hurt right now. It's day-to-day, but he's been playing pretty well. 24, 12, 22, 30, and then 27, 16. Like, he's been playing well. He's 3,300 too. It's weird. Some of these guys are really priced high, but yeah, I agree with that. And on the other side, maybe just one-offs for the Reds. Nothing major here. Strasburg at home, I like. I guess, it wouldn't be totally contrarian to go to stack against him because his last start, he did get blown up in New York, if I remember correctly. Was it New York or it was I think it was Atlanta, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Atlanta. It was Atlanta. It was a really humid day. The dew point was like highest I've seen in Atlanta. Like, yeah, I think that was like an anomaly. Although the start before he did get hit too, but Cincinnati's not very strong on the road. I think he'll bounce back more than likely here, and I think Vegas is thinking the same with the 250 favorite.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so we got Darvish taking the Texas Rangers taking on Masahiro Tanaka. It is the battle of the Japanese pitchers tomorrow night in the Bronx. Yeah, what you got?
That's actually interesting. I've noticed like any like foreign players when they go up against each other, they seem to like, really rise to the occasion and take it personally. I didn't notice that at first, but initially I was thinking about picking on Tanaka here. I think Texas is really hot right now, and the wind's blowing out, warm temperatures in Yankee Stadium. And Tanaka, when he doesn't have it really going, he gets beat up real bad. But, maybe with his fellow countrymen or fellow continent men, I'm not sure if they're from the same country, in Yankee Stadium, maybe he shows up tomorrow. So maybe a little bit less interested in Texas thinking about that, but still, they were one of my favorite spots on the slate coming into it. I mean, they exploded today against Stroman, who's a very good pitcher, hit a bunch of home runs off him, which is very rare for him, which just means that, they're in a zone, their bats are coming alive, and, they mix it up, lefty, righty, all up and down their lineup. They've got a lot of power. So guys like Nomar Mazara, Odor, I was interested in targeting here. And I think I still will, but maybe not as aggressively as I had planned. On the other side, I'm really not too interested in the Yankees bats. I think Darvish is the type of ace that can really like keep control against the Yankees. I don't see them blowing up against him. He's a big time strikeout pitcher, and the Yankees can strike out. And the Yanks have been a little bit cold lately. Outside of a few monstrous home runs, they really haven't been putting up the run totals like we saw 2 weeks ago. And Darvish has been pitching well in tough spots lately. So I would actually have a little bit of interest in Darvish as a contrarian low-owned spot. And I, am not going to be on the Yankees bats at all. So, play some Texas and give Darvish a look as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at Texas here, and one thing that stands out is that nobody is over 4,000 in their lineup, and I like that. You could get a great stack. Carlos Gomez is the hottest hitter in baseball right now.
Yeah.
There's nobody hotter. Since he came back on June 16th, his game logs from June 16th are 35, 19, 22, 9, 18, and then today he had 54 points. Yeah. The guy's hot. Play him. Play him against Tanaka in that weather, wind blowing out. It's humid. He's 3,700 too. He's still not that expensive. For cash games, he's probably pretty good. Hopefully he's batting a little bit higher up in the lineup. He's pretty hot, but yeah, I look at him and I felt like today I was looking at him and when he hit those, it's one of those when you're kicking yourself in the ass that like, God, I should have played him. I know it. And he's the hottest hitter in baseball right now.
Yeah, Stroman doesn't give up a long ball, and he very rarely gives it up to righties. Like almost never, So for him to take him deep twice, actually, I'm not sure if the second one was against him, but
I don't think the second one was.
But Napoli took Stroman deep, and so did the catcher Chirinos. So this team's locked in, and it doesn't matter, I think, who they're facing. So that's why I have interest in them. And Sinsu Chu's hot too. So it's like it's tough team to navigate for Tanaka.
Mm-hmm. And whenever the Yankees are playing at home, people just love playing them. And I think that people are just going to go to the Yankees anyways.
Yeah.
Aaron Hicks at 3.2, I like that. That's a good value. Starlin Castro at 3,000 has gone down a little bit. So Matt Holliday at 3.4 for first baseman is good value. So there's places you can go. I just think you is pretty good, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move on to Mr. John Lackey of the Chicago Cubs going down South Beach, taking on Jose Urena and the Miami Marlins. Hit it off, Pauly D.
We saw the Cubs explode today. You had actually mentioned on the pod yesterday that you keep thinking they're going to, and they did it today. And, it's interesting. They sent down Schwarber, and, I think that might make their team better. He was like a hole in their lineup at the top. And, that guy either hit a home run or struck out 3 times. And, they've reconstructed their lineup. They've got Rizzo leading off, then Chris Bryant. That's like a killer 1-2 punch to have to face probably 5 times here. And Urena doesn't scare me. He's had some decent starts, but, I think he's going to be overmatched here. So I like a lot of the Cubs bats. Top of the order, definitely. And on the other side, Miami could be interesting here, too. Lackey likes to give up the long ball. And Miami guys have been hitting as well. So I'm cool with, like, D. Gordon, Stanton, Ozuna. Justin Bour's been incredibly hot. This game, it's only got a 9-run total, but it could go way over that. If the line starts moving up tomorrow, this could be a good game stack. And I don't think the Marlins would be owned at all. And the Cubs, they're not going to be the most popular spot on this slate. So this could be a game you get at low ownership as well. And I like both spots here for the bats.
Yeah, you see, anytime I see a catcher batting third at 2.6. I don't know. I will go to war with that any day of the week, especially when he's in a good offense like that. And it's low priced, and I know there might be better options, but there's better hitters everywhere else. I'll pull it 2.6 in Contreras and take it. If he's batting third, it's hard for me to get off of that. Like I said, there's other guys batting around him that can help him out. Kind of like Real Muto was in the beginning of the year when he was
he was leading off for second.
Oh my God! Yep. In April, he was cash game gold. He was the best catcher for DFS. So yeah, I like that. The game. I think that the Cubs is one of many places you can go on a 15-game slate. Ownership is not going to really be an issue. On the other side, the Marlins are a team that people never really play, and Lackey, like you said, can get blown up. They're an underdog, so people won't be hitting that, and yeah, it looks like a game that will be very, just kind of like crossed out. People really won't talk about.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so we got a juicy one, Mr. Ubaldo Jimenez of the Baltimore Orioles, going against Chris Archer and the Tampa Bay Rays. Hit it off, Pauly D.
I really like Archer, and he's at home where he does well, and Baltimore strikes out, up amongst the tops in the league. And, we see them get hot in spurts, but, they're struggling right now. Chris Davis would be like a top target here, and he's out, and their lineup's very right-handed, and I think Archer can do really well in this spot. If we get a good umpire here too, that would make me even higher on him. So definitely interested in Archer. None of the Baltimore bats, and then I like the Tampa Bay bats to pick on Jimenez. The Tampa Bay strength is the lefties, and that's where Jimenez struggles. And Jimenez isn't great against righties either. So full Tampa stacks. I think it could get a little popular tomorrow. They got a 5.3 implied total. So, don't be scared to play guys towards the bottom of the lineup. Colby Rasmus is a great spot for him if he's batting like 6th. And Logan Morrison, Dickerson, Souza, those guys have just been mashing the ball all year. And with Tampa, when you stack them, you get all or nothing. Either you're going to get 4 or 5 home runs and, monster score, or nothing. So that they're like a great GPP tournament stack here against a pitcher that's been really struggling.
Yeah, and that bullpen, if they get into that bullpen early, it'd be done.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. I look at a guy like Malik Smith. 2 weeks ago, he was a darling because he was 2.2 and he was leading off. Yeah. Because somebody got hurt. Yeah, what's his name? Kiermaier gets hurt.
Kiermaier.
Yeah, and then Malik Smith comes in. He's 2.2, and now he's 2.9. Now, to me, he's not for cash games. He's just another player now. And that's what I think, that like his value now is not that good. And I put down, right, I had 3 teams written down just when I first started looking at things, and the Rays were my number 1 team. Ubaldo Jimenez is just a guy that you can pick on. The funny thing is, though, is that the reason why it's a GPP play is that as much as I think that they could crush him, Ubaldo is a type of guy who could go out there and strike out 10 and give up 6 runs too. It's kind of funny that way. Like he has that kind of stuff in the past. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't play him. Like, you got to be crazy to play him. But then on the other side, I just don't see any real hitters that you're going to get Archer with. They don't have very many lefties at all. They'll throw Smith and Kim, and that's it. So I like Archer. He's a little bit less than Strasburg. So I think at least in cash games, people are going to be split between the two. I don't know right now. I'd probably leaning to Archer just because of recency bias, and he's pitching at home, and it just seems like he's got a better matchup.
Yeah, I mean, he's got way bigger K upside here, and the lineup construction, Baltimore just doesn't have the lefties to put in to make it a little harder for him. And I've said it many times, like, Baltimore strikes out with the best of them, and if Archer's on a roll, he could strike out 12, 13 guys here if he keeps his pitch count down and doesn't give up many runs. So this is an elite GPP spot if it works out, and you should definitely have some exposure to him. I think he'll probably be the most popular pitcher on the slate, but not more than like 20% because there's a bunch of other spots. So he's a guy that I really like, and I think people should target him.
Yeah. All right, we got the Anaheim, California Angels. Alex Meyer taking on the Boston Red Sox. Notice how I did not say Los Angeles. Let's see here. Alex Meyer, Vegas Red Sox are -163 favorite. Porcello at home. The wind's blowing out 14 miles right now, it looks like. Partly cloudy, 77 degrees, humidity 69%. What you got, Paulie?
I do like Meyer, but not in this spot. Boston's a tough stadium. Boston Red Sox, even though they haven't been doing it, they're a team that could break out any day, and they're patient. And Meyer's a guy who can struggle with his control. So I wouldn't go there. And Porcello, he's given up probably, I didn't look, but he's going to be in the top 3, giving up the hardest contact on this slate. And he's just, hasn't shown that Cy Young form from last year. So I would not go there as well. The Angels have been scrappy since Trout got hurt. And you can't ignore what Cameron Maybin's doing at the top of that lineup. So he's a guy that you could play. And Calhoun as well has been hitting the ball well in this ballpark. Guys can hit the ball out. Guys can hit it deep in the gaps off the wall and, get doubles. So, I could see playing 1 or 2 of them if they give you a value to differentiate. And, I have interest in the Red Sox. I think they're a stack or nothing kind of spot here. And if they get to this kid and get into the bullpen, it could be a good day for them. So, slight interest, not my favorite spots, but, I think if I was making 10 teams, I'd have, 1 or 2 of them with some Boston players and some one-offs or little 2-man mini stacks of Angels in certain spots.
Yeah, well, you got to think the public's going to go to them too, because Vegas has got them at 6 runs, and that's one of the highest. Might be the highest on the slate. Yep. I think that the Red Sox just in general have not produced what we thought that they would be this year. And I'm not saying you can't play them. I'm not saying don't stack them. I mean, Moreland at 2.9, batting 4th with Bogarts. That's a good stack. Hanley, it's a shame you can't play them together. And now on the other side, I'm not playing Porcello. They just went into Yankee Stadium in the last 3 days, and they were pests to the Yankees. And Porcello is just the same type of pitcher, like Severino, like Montgomery, just the same type, like Pineda. And I think that the Angels are going to come out and just Porcello. I'm not playing Porcello tomorrow. I mean, he'll probably go out there and pitch a shutout now, but I'm not gonna play him. So I'm taking a stand. There's other places to go. The Angels have been scrappy hot right now. I mean, the guy Maldonado at 2.1 at catcher, if he's at batting higher up in the order, all he's got to do is turn on one in that big green monster.
Yep.
So
totally agree. And Luis Valbuena, cheap third baseman. He's like 2,600. That's a good spot to get value if you're pitching Archer or Strasburg.
All right. So we got Adalberto Mejia of the Minnesota Twins traveling to Cleveland, taking on Trevor Bauer. It has right now it says heavy rain, precipitation 51%, humidity at 88%, and the wind is kind of blowing it's not blowing out.
Yeah, left to right.
Yeah, left to right. So what you got, Paulie?
So definitely keep your eye on the weather here. If Roth or whoever you follow for weather says that he thinks the game will play, maybe there's a delay. Obviously stay off the pitchers, but I'm kind of hoping there's a threat of rain that takes people off of Cleveland, because they are probably the hottest team right now in baseball, maybe second to the Dodgers. And Mejia's a lefty, and Cleveland's got a ton of powerful righties in that lineup that can, take this young kid, to school. So I hope to play Cleveland at low ownership. I love E5. Jose Ramirez is just, on crazy fire right now. He was player of the week in the American League last week. Austin Jackson has been hitting the ball. He's batting sixth lately. Lindor's a switch hitter at the top of this order. This is a dangerous lineup, and I hope to get a piece of them at low ownership because of the rain threat. And with the rain threat comes deep humidity, and that helps the ball travel. So this is a good spot. If it's going to play, you should have some ownership. And on the flip side, Bauer can get hit, and when he does, he usually gets taken deep, and we've seen Minnesota be hot lately. So I have some interest in guys like Rosario and Escobar, the shortstop, and maybe Vargas, like a 5, 6, 7 low order stack that could definitely be low owned. Both sides of the offense are attractive here to me.
Yeah, I'm really hoping this game plays. I look at Cleveland, and man, that lineup, their WOBA against lefties is just Lindor, Ramirez. E5 is top 5 players right now you want on playing every day. Austin Jackson, you can get a good small stack too. You can do numerous stacks of this team. Yan Gomes is great too. He hits lefty pitchers great. And then today we had this guy I didn't even know or heard about him, but Fuego was going off about him. Eric Gonzalez he's his new. It's like he was dating him or something. And I think he hit a home run. So he kept on saying Gonzalez, and I was like, okay, all right, Fuego. It's all right. Good for you. So it's just funny. Like I see tomorrow, and I just see that like if this game plays, I think it's gonna be. It's like it was like today with Chicago. Minnesota, Chicago. Like people will go off of it, and it's almost. I've learned more and more. Unless it's not the pitchers so much, the hitters stay on it. Like today was perfect. Like it was a day game. You said they were going to wait it out, and they did. So and now the Twins just got their ass whipped. They're going into Cleveland. Cleveland just coming off of a good series in Baltimore. I like them. I like them a lot. So, anyways, let's move on. We know we're telling you guys. What else?
One quick thing. Sneaky play could be Carlos Santana at first base because most guys who are going to go to this game are going to play E5. But Santana has just as much upside in this spot, and you'll probably get him at like 1-2%, and he's in just as good a spot here.
You're right. You're totally right. This whole lineup, I endorse this whole lineup. If you want to get a small weird stacks anywhere, 8, 9, 1, 2, do whatever you want. Because if you get into the bullpen too, they can hit the bullpen. The Twins bullpen isn't good. So, all right. So we got. My man, Jimmy Nelson of the Milwaukee Brewers traveling to Hotlanta, taking on Michael Fultonavich. What do you got, Paulie?
This is really a game that I have very little interest in. we've seen Jimmy Nelson transform into a top-tier pitcher this year, so I'm not really looking to pick on him much. I just think there's probably better spots on this slate. Even though Atlanta probably is a decent, cheap stack that you could play and fit in with some of these pitchers, but Nelson's been too good, and I'm not going to pick on him until I see different. And Fultonevich is a guy that, you would want to pick on with lefties, so I could be okay with a one-off of Thames or the third baseman from Boston, Shaw. But otherwise, I think there's better spots on the slate. And I'm not really interested. It's more of a pass for me.
Yeah, I agree, but I will say this just for everybody, this whole weekend, if you're going to play, if there's right-handed pitchers of the Braves pitching, look at Sogard, Thames, and Shaw in that ballpark. I think that with the weekend, depending on which slates that they're on, depending on when they're playing, it could be very, very profitable. So look at that. It's humid. I like it. I like the spot. Fultonevich is can get blown up. He's not. He's had some good starts, but I want to say his last start was not very good at all, and was I felt like he regressed. If I must say, let me see what I'm trying to find him right now.
He's been like that all year. It's like he burns you. So you're like, I'm not pitching this guy anymore. And then in like a tough spot, he puts up a gem. But
yeah, like minus 14 at Washington on the 12th, and then he came up with 28 points against Miami, his next start. So I mean, I think that if you wanted to play those three lefties, I don't mind it because I don't think anybody will be on it.
Yep. No, definitely not. And, in this park, warm temperature, anything can happen. We saw, tonight, Braves, Giants, not two teams you expect offense from. Final score was 12-9. Guys like Joe Panic hit home runs. So for sure, it's a spot to consider. I think there's better spots to go here.
Yeah. All right. We got Jarrell Cotton of the Oakland A's traveling to Chi-Town to take on Mike Pelfrey and the Chicago White Sox. What do you got, Paulie?
This game I don't have a ton of interest in either. Pelfrey is a guy that we do target often, but, he just seems to kind of be getting through, doesn't ever really get blown up too bad. And, Oakland is not too threatening, especially on the road. So, I wouldn't pitch Pelfrey, but I'm not looking to really pick on him all that much. And Cotton, has shown some decent stuff. And the White Sox struggle with righties. So he's a guy that I would consider as well, but probably more if I was playing on DK as an SP2. I just think there's better spots, either lower cost or, at the higher end, guys that are just going to put up much bigger scores that Cotton won't really contend with. So I can understand it, but it's not somewhere I'm going to go. And, I really wouldn't look to pick on him. So this game's kind of a meh pass for me.
All right. Can we get a little bit of clapping? All right, here we go. Guess who's cash game porn again because he's 2-6.
Oh, is he?
Jed Lowry.
Jetty Lowry.
That's right, Jed Lowry, cash game porn. That's right, he is 2.6 at second base, 2.6. I'm telling you to play him at cash. That's right.
Nice. Jed Lowry.
Jed Lowry is back at 2.6, and that's where I like him at, right around 2.6. He's great value. I love him. I love to play him. Anyway, so yeah. Besides that, I got, the White Sox have been really, really like hot lately. So I don't mind if you wanted to play them. Davidson, Jesus, man, that guy was great today. Yep. And on the other side, I'm not really into the A's much at all, but I do like, of course, my man Lowry.
Yep.
So all right, let's move on to the next game. Mm-hmm. We got J.A. Happ of the Toronto Blue Jays taking on Jake Junis of the Kansas City Royals. What you got?
J.A. Happ, I could have a little bit of interest in. The Royals have been hitting lately, but, they're still one of the lowest teams in the league in terms of WOBA. And we saw Happ dominate last week. And where he struggles is with giving up the long ball, and this is a big ballpark. And there's not too many righties that really scare me here. So, I could have some interest in Happ. Jake Junis, I just haven't seen enough from to really go with him in this spot. And Toronto's got a 5-run implied total. And they got dangerous bats up and down the lineup. So I would not go there. And, I have some interest in Kendrys Morales, Justin Smoke. Wish I could play them together, but you're going to have to pick which one you like better in this spot. Both are guys that can hit it out. And that's probably about it. Like a one-off Smoke or a one-off Kendrys. We saw Donaldson get scratched today, so I'm not sure if he'll be in the lineup tomorrow. If he is, he's another guy that I think you can get at pretty low ownership that can always hit 2 home runs. So, take a look at the Toronto lineup tomorrow and, don't just write them off. But otherwise, this game's not too exciting as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can always play Toronto just because they always have that firepower. Yeah. And I think a lot of times people are just falling into the trap, though, too. I mean, right now, there's not a worse hitter in baseball than Troy Tulowitzki. I am just convinced. He is just so bad. Yep. And I don't know what it is. I thought I saw it a few years ago, but everybody says he's hurt. I have not seen what he used to be. The injuries have definitely taken a toll. And on the other side, I just don't see anybody here really that like,
jumps off the page.
Yeah, like it's too much. Like Salvador Perez 3-4. No, I mean, I guess Lorenzo Cain would be okay.
Yeah.
At 3-5, he'd be pretty good, but it's just there's just other places to go. So let's go.
Let's move on.
All right, so we got Jameson Taillon of the Pittsburgh Primanti Brothers Pirates. Primanti Brothers is like a really popular sandwich, I guess. Yeah.
Sausage and pizza joint.
Did you know that CK is actually traveling in Pennsylvania somewhere? We don't know where he is. I think he's somewhere in Amish country because whenever I think people are traveling to Pennsylvania, somebody from the West Coast, I just think Amish country. So I don't know. I feel like he's like in a buggy right now, or like there's like a candle lit somewhere and they're like eating like really, really starchy foods. That's where I think he is right now. That's what I'm picturing. But,
Yeah,
so anyway,
we'll have to see if we can get a report from CK where he's at.
Yes.
But if he's in Amish country, he won't be able to report back.
I don't know. He might have to like run out because any texts that go out, he'll be like scalded. You know what I mean? That would be funny. So anyway, Jameson Taillon is traveling to St. Louis to take on Adam Wainwright. What you got, Paulie?
Jameson Taillon, he interests me for sure in this spot. I had a bunch of the Phillies pitcher right-hander against St. Louis today, and he did pretty well. And outside of like Carpenter and Fowler, I'm not really too scared of the St. Louis lineup against a right-hander. So, Taillon could be a decent low-owned pitcher here that's looked good since he came back from the DL. And on the opposite end here, I could pick on Wainwright. The Pirates have a couple good lefty bats. Polanco's been heating up. Bell, not the best spot, but a Polanco one-off wouldn't be the worst idea. But otherwise, I probably would fade the rest of this game.
Yeah, I think Jameson Taillon will go completely overlooked tomorrow. Nobody's going to go there because they're going to be going home to St. Louis. Nobody really likes to go there. One guy in St. Louis I don't mind playing. Tommy Pham. That guy is hot right now. Play him.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't mind as a one-off. 3-2 ain't bad. So, but yeah, there's just, when the 15-game slate, guys, you got to like just take a stand sometimes and just X out games or you'll just be overwhelmed, when you're trying to streamline the process unless – obviously, it goes to, like one-offs, obviously, like our man, Cash Game Porn. He he's a one-off that you might always look at in the A's no matter what. But but when you're looking at teams to stack, you got to just cross out, and just hope that they don't go off because you're making the best possible decision or the highest percentage decision. So, all right. So we got Mark Leiter Jr., I believe. I believe it's Mark Leiter's son. I really do. Or Al Leiter's son of the Philadelphia Phillies traveling to Arizona to take on Patrick Corbin and the Diamondbacks. There is no line on this game right now. What you got, Paulie?
So I checked the weather real quick, and the forecast is 108 degrees. So I don't think the roof's going to be open here, which makes me slightly interested in Corbin. He's been in a couple tough spots his last few starts, and finally gets back home in the Dome and taking on a team in Philly that really struggles against the left-handed pitchers. And Corbin has some K upside, so he's a guy I keep my eye on as one of the lower price pitchers that I may consider tomorrow. And on the other side, Leiter, not in his – I think this is his debut. I would not target him against this tough Zona lineup that's been on fire lately. Jake Lamb, Drury, and Goldschmidt have just been tearing the ball apart, and I will have exposure to those guys. And, I think you should too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they just they boarded a flight out from Colorado and coming home. So they went from the number 1 ballpark to the number 2 park.
Yeah.
They just destroyed the Rockies in a 3-game series. Did they sweep them or not? I know they won 2 or 3 at least. So it's kind of funny how we don't really follow who wins or loses.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the Diamondbacks tomorrow. I think people are going to go to them too. I don't know why you wouldn't. The minute that you get into that Philly bullpen, it could get ugly. And I don't think that the prices are all that high. I think that, you got Peralta 3.5, even Goldie at 4.8.
Peralta's hot too. Play him. Keep playing him.
And Lamb has cooled off. I'm not saying don't play him, but he's cooled off a little bit. He's under 4K, but guys like Owings and Drury, they're real affordable, low lineup stack, be a contrarian. And on the other side, I kind of disagree with you a little bit. They got a couple one-offs that do hit lefties pretty well, like Altherr and Rupp. So I think that if Corbin can sway away from that, I think he might be viable, but I just don't. There's other pitchers I like more, and I think he's a little bit 8.2 to me. He should be like below 7.5. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I was actually assuming. I said low cost. I just assumed he was around 7K. So if he's 8.2, that's a big no way. And moving on.
Yeah, and by the way, it has been hot out here in LA. We've been over 100 in the past week. So every weather moves east. So it all went to Arizona, and so I'm sure they're pretty high. Corbin's price on DK is 7.6, which is pretty good if you want an SB2. I would definitely endorse that for sure.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So we got. Alrighty. Let's see. Next, we got Kyle Freeland of the Colorado Rockies taking on Alex Wood in a showdown for first place at Chavez Ravine, Dodger Stadium. What you got, Paulie?
I really like Wood in this spot. The Rockies are not the same when they're on the road, and they struggle versus elite pitching. And they have a very high K rate. So when Wood is on, if he's got the right ump, he can strike out 10, 11 guys. We saw him actually go to Coors earlier this year and strike out over 10. And I think this is a great, great spot for him. Dodgers have been on a roll. They'll probably get to Freeland, and he'll be working with the lead. And as long as he can keep his pitch count down, he should go 7 or 8. And he's one of my favorite pitchers on this slate as well. On the other side, I don't have interest in Freeland. He's lefty, right?
Yes.
So, I like some of those value guys that the Dodgers roll out when they bring out their right-handed lineup. Uh, Kike Hernandez, Puig is cheap, and Forsythe's been coming around. Austin Barnes is like 2K at catcher. I know you'll like that. And these guys always produce when they're in the lineup. The only risk is they'll get pinch hit for if it's a close game. But, a 2K catcher, I think that's a great punt if you're trying to fit in guys like Archer and Strasburg. And this team's been on fire lately. So, I want a little bit of piece of that lineup. And on the other side, you can never go wrong with Arenado, but, he costs a lot and, he won't work with most of the elite pitchers. And this is probably not a great spot to be looking for any Rockies, in my opinion.
Yeah, Alex Wood is like under 10K on FanDuel. He's also under 10K on DraftKings. So I think you could roll with Alex Wood as an SP1 on DraftKings tomorrow night. I don't play DraftKings all that much, but I look at his price and I'm like, well, he's in a pretty good spot. He's a minus 187 favorite. The only thing is that the Rockies took it on the chin, man. So they're going to be coming in knowing that the Dodgers can sweep them, and all of a sudden they're down by 4 games in the division. So, I have been hesitant as a Dodger fan to get on, the Alex Wood train. I wanted to throw in Alex before I said that. So I've been hesitant, but he's in a good spot. I wish he would have pitched today, because he was at one point pitching today, but yeah. So I like him, and the Dodger hitters, Taylor, Sears can hit lefty. He took the day off today. Turner's good. Kike, they're going to throw out their righty heavy lineup. Yep. So I don't mind it. It will be low owned too. Yeah. So yeah. So all right, next game. We're moving right along. We got 3 left. All right. We got next game. Michael Fulmer of the Detroit Tigers is taking on Dinelson Lamet of the San Diego Padres. Founded by the Germans, they named it San Diego, which of course in German means a whale's vagina.
I don't know how to follow that up, but we saw Lamet look dominant in his last start. And Vegas, I guess, is not opposed to that. Detroit's a small favorite here, and Detroit has a 4 implied total, and San Diego's got a 3.6. So I'm interested in both of these pitchers. Real quick, I'm going to try and pull up their prices. Just bear with me on that. I can see a Detroit stack because they can go off against anyone, and this guy's a rookie, Lamet, but I could also see Lamet doing well. It's a big ballpark. Detroit's still playing now late in Seattle, and they got to travel. So, I would lean towards Lamet as a low-cost, high-upside arm in GPPs. He is way down here at 7,500. So that could work. He struck out 12 Milwaukee Brewers in 6 innings. So the upside is definitely there. And Fulmer, he's never sexy, but the San Diego Padres can make any pitcher look sexy. And with their high strikeout rate, it could get Fulmer, who's usually like many innings, low K, low runs given up pitcher. He could get 2, 3, 4 extra strikeouts and find himself in 40 to 50 point range if the Tigers can get the win. So both these guys are interesting to me, and I'm not very interested in any of the bats, with the caveat of I can always understand a Detroit stack, but it would be a stack or nothing. And if I had a bunch of Lamet, I would definitely have one Detroit hedge stack as well.
Yeah, I look at Michael Fulmer, and before we started this, we were talking about him, and I said, I like him because he's not sexy, but he always does well. And then I look at his price, and then I'm like, no.
Yeah, 10-1.
But wow. Let me ask you this, though, now. Because we're both saying no, is everybody going to be thinking that? Because you can just go up to Archer or Strasburg, and then he is very, very low owned at that point. Because if you're gonna spend 10-1, you're gonna spend 10-4, you're gonna spend 10-9, in my opinion. So as much as he's not, you know what I mean? Like game theory wise, it almost makes him more sexy because you think his initial reaction is going to be what ours was.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. And in situations like this, you know, I like defer to all like my like tertiary like stats or, you know, factors. So if, you know, there's no one with good BVP, if the wind is blowing in, if the temperature is down and it's not humid, and we get a good ump, and we get a favorable lineup, if those things kind of all line up, you know, like you check in the boxes and they're all okay or just one is off, then it could be a decent spot to go because, you know, Archer is, you know, Baltimore's a tough lineup, a tough team to face. You know, like no one would be surprised if Baltimore scores 5 runs tomorrow. Strasburg's probably a little bit more safe, and that's why he's minus 250. But, you know, we've seen guys, you know, strike out 10, 11, 12 Padres on the regular basis, you know, having their best start of the year. So, you know, that's a good point. And, you know, it's a late night hammer. It is low temperature, 70 degrees. So, you know, if we get an umpire lining up, we get Vegas moving the spread in the favor of the Tigers a little bit more and, you know, a nice lineup, then I could actually do that. You know, this is a first look pod. So sometimes, you know, we find things as we're talking through them. And, you know, you're definitely right. He's going to be 5% or less and has the ability to get you a 50 spot here. So something to consider.
Yeah, and, you know, the Lamet, every time, like, he had a couple good starts, so I'm like, okay, I'm on him. I'm going to tell him he's facing a good team or whatever, good matchup, and then he got bombed like 2 and 3 in a row. And then I'm off. And then he had another good or 2 good ones again. And, like, as he went into Milwaukee last week, and everybody was like, oh, Milwaukee, you got to stack him. And he went in and he shoved it last week.
Yeah.
So I just think that there's other pitchers to go to.
Yeah,
and I think he might. I guess he could. But that lineup is good. I mean,
yeah,
you know,
they're pros. You know, like that's not Milwaukee. This is Detroit. This is Miggy, JD. Kinsler's back healthy. Avila's one of the best hitting catchers out there. So I hear you. You know, like I'm actually more interested in Fulmer than I was 5 minutes ago than Lamet when I first looked at this.
It's funny. I mean, Avila's back down to 3K, which I love.
Yeah.
3K is about the limit that I like to pay on my catchers. And so, yeah, he's right around there. You know, JD Martinez is always a good one-off. I love playing him at any time. So, anyways, let's move on. All right, so we got Joe Musgrove of the Houston Astros traveling up to the Pacific Northwest to take on the returning King Felix Hernandez of the Seattle Mariners. What you got?
So this is like Felix's first start in a while, and early in the year we had seen him getting beat up a little, and you know, I think he's on the decline. So I have interest in a Houston stack. You know, we saw them blow up for 12 runs today. They're one of the best teams in baseball and have some of the best hitters. So I like this spot. I think it's going to be incredibly low owned because people know the name Felix Hernandez and wouldn't tend to pick on him. But I don't think this is the same Felix. This is his first start off of a long DL stint. And, you know, I think Houston has the upside to win you a tournament at very, very low ownership. So guys like Marlon Gonzalez, Altuve, Correa, Josh Reddick, and Brian McCann's one of the best hitting catchers. All those guys I really like. You know, like and Springer, although he left with an injury today, so if he's in the lineup 1 through 5 or 6, if he's not a 2 through 5 or 6 type stack, and you know, this is a spot I really, really like. I think it's going to be very contrarian, and I'm like excited about this slate because of that spot.
Yeah, you know, back in the summer of 2014, I don't know if you knew that when George Springer was coming up with the Astros made the Sports Illustrated cover and it said, "Your 2017 World Series champions." And this was back in 2014.
Wow.
So I'll tell you what, like, you're right. They're one of the best teams in baseball. Right now, if I had to pick a World Series right now, I'm picking the Astros and the Dodgers. And I know that's a little bit of a homer, but the Dodgers are playing pretty damn better than the Cubs right now. And I think the Cubs are the only team that can beat them. Maybe the Nats. Just on a brat. I think those are the Nats right now and the Dodgers are the two best teams in the National League, and the Astros and the Indians are the two best teams in the American League.
Yep.
So you can. I mean, the Astros, boy, today. I wish I had some of them. I wish I had more of them.
Yeah.
What frustrated me today is once I had cash game porn in some of my lineups because he was only 2.8, and then once he wasn't in the lineup, it made me scramble down to Rosales, which gave me more money. So then I upgraded from Reddick, and he went off for 46 points. And it's just. You know what I mean? Like it was frustrating. It was a little tilting, as we say in the industry. So, but yeah, Felix has it has the potential to, like, he's basically a boxer on his last leg and he's ready to get knocked out, and he's coming back, and he could get hit. I don't think Springer's going to play tomorrow. So we'll see who leads off. That might open up some great value somewhere. I would think maybe the guy, if I had to guess, would lead off is probably Aoki if he was in the lineup, because he's done it before. Mm-hmm. But they could move like Marisnik maybe, or Gurriel, maybe someone like that.
They might just put Altuve there. We'll see. Definitely keep an eye on it. Hopefully the lineup's out before.
And on the other side, I think you can always play the Mariners. Musgrove isn't nothing special, so they've got 4.8 runs. It's nothing big. Mitch Haniger, I like him depending on where he's hitting. All the players are pretty good. So yeah. All right.
Gamble, Seager, Cano. Cano's a couple big hits today, so maybe he's coming back around. I hear you. I'm with it. I could have a little mini Seattle stack. That's cool.
All right, last game we got Seth Lugo of CK's New York Metropolitans taking on Ty Black of that team up north we like to call Frisco. What you got?
I don't have much interest here. I guess on DK you could take one of these guys at very low price as a SP2 to pair with an Archer or a Strasburg, but otherwise, I just don't have much interest. We've seen Lugo pitch well. He hasn't gotten blown up. So, San Fran is not an offense that I fear, especially in this ballpark. And on the other side, I prefer Mets against righties. Blatch is a lefty. So, I don't really see any interest in this game. It's a pass for me.
Yeah, it's Seth Lugo is honestly sneaky there. I obviously the Giants don't have strikeout upside, but I think it's amazing how many lefties the Mets have faced in the past 10 days. It's crazy. Wilmer Flores is going to hit a home run one of these days against a lefty. It's gonna happen. Travis d'Arnaud hit a home run today. He's 2.4. He is going to. If he moves up in the order, right now they have him scheduled for 5th. So if he moves up in the order tomorrow, I like that. I also like Brandon Crawford at 2.7, batting 3rd. It's a good salary relief. Obviously I'm trying to look at things, guys. When I'm telling you this, I'm looking at things as more of a cash game thing. I don't see stacking any of these teams. Obviously in that park, it's not conducive. It's a beautiful park, by the way. I endorse visiting. By the way, I endorse visiting Frisco. I don't endorse living there. That's just personal. I'm from SoCal, so they know. So anybody at WiseTake listening out there from Frisco, I'm gonna keep calling it Frisco. It's not hella good up there. All right. Anyway, so So that's it. That's all the games we got. You got anything else to add before we play some Dong Watch?
No, I just go back to what we said at the top of the show, that this is a wide open slate, great for GPPs. We got a bunch of high end arms we can target, some cheap arms we can target, tons of teams we can stack. So this is a multi-entry, lower buy-in tournament type day for me. And, you pick the right 1-2 stacks, you're going to do well. It's just I don't know how to pick that, so that's why I recommend, if you usually play $50 a night, find yourself the $4 or $6 tournaments that, you can build, say, 6 teams around, and then make one of those your main and throw that into like the $12 or $20, $25 single entry kind of thing and root for that one to go off, but you have all the other one-offs that hopefully pop for you. But that's how I approach these large slates, especially when there's not specific spots that I love.
Yeah, I know. I'm the type of person where I think that cash games, I'm looking at the prices, and I think that there's going to be some good value to where it's going to open up some good choices to where you can get in some good hitters. So I like it. And as for the stacks, I just think that all you got to do is pick the teams that you like and play those stacks, and then just don't worry about it. And if it hits, and you have a good night. And because it could, and it's anything can happen. And yeah, it's going to be a fun night, and just enjoy it. It's Friday, man. Think about it. It's Friday.
It's Friday, baby. You ain't got nothing to do.
You ain't got no job. You ain't got nothing to do. So play some DFS. So let's play some Dong Watch, and then let's get out of here. Say some parting words, and then we'll get out of here. So since I am the host this time, I'm gonna let you go first. But let's I'm gonna switch it up just a little bit. Let's do it just a little bit. I'm gonna give you just like every pick you're gonna get is just gonna be a different thing. I'm gonna say, okay, I want one player from a visiting team.
Okay.
That's your first player.
One player from a visiting team. I like that little mix-up. It's like the arcade mode.
Yeah, just a little visiting team.
All right, I'm gonna go with Anthony Rizzo, Chicago Cubs on the road in Miami.
Very nice, very nice. I'm gonna go with Cargo Light, Carlos Gomez, Texas.
Nice. I was thinking about that too.
So the Yankees. All right. Next one. Somebody hitting 7, 8, 9 in the order.
Oh, that is awesome call. I like that. Somebody hitting 7, 8, 9 in the order.
Just from basic what they say right now. So look at the lineups if you got them.
Yep. Smoke them if you got them. I hear you. I am gonna go with Yan Gomes, most likely batting 7th against Mejia.
Yeah, okay, let's go with I'm going to stay with catcher too. I'm going to go with Cameron Rupp, batting 7th against Patrick Corbin.
Nice.
And then finally, let's go with somebody from the National League.
Somebody from the National League. You know what? I'm going to go somewhat chalky, but, I think he's going to hit one. Bryce Harper against the rookie at home tomorrow with the 15-mile-per-hour winds blowing out.
Very nice, very nice. I am going to stay home, and I'm not going to go with the kid this time. I'm going to go with my man, JT, Justin Turner.
All right.
Going home run against Mr. Freeland.
I can see that.
So yeah, man. So that was a lot of fun, man. We had a good time.
Yeah, dude.
I think it was good. I think that CK, wherever you are in Pennsylvania, I hope that when you see this, I hope you enjoy it. I want to let everybody know of the live stream that's going to be happening on Sunday. We are live at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 8:30 Pacific, 9:30 Mountain Time, and 10:30 Central Time. So I laid it out for everybody. All right. So we'll be back, and then I think me and Paulie, sometime one of the days this weekend, we're going to get together and we're going to do a little, just maybe a little audio form for you guys. We might record a video, but trying to do something audio form, maybe talk about maybe the morning slate of either Saturday morning or maybe the Sunday morning main slate to get you guys prepared. But we'll definitely be back live video with CK on Sunday. So remember, follow me at Patio Joe Ref, follow at WiseTake. Make sure you give us a thumbs up on YouTube, likes, and all that stuff on Podbean, just like whatever CK does. We want to boost up those charts. And make sure to follow Paulie D at Paulie with the 8 Ds, Paulie with the 8 Ds. You spell it out. I don't care. Everybody, seriously, for Paulie, for Joe, we had a great time. Have good luck. Get some money. Get that money. Get the cashing, and we love you. We're out. Peace.
Peace.